So welcome everyone. My name is Tony Cockmo, president of the DFW BIM Infrastructure User Group here in Dallas, Texas. We have an online platform where we share tips and tricks with other designers, Autodesk users across the United States, not just only on in DFW. I'm also president of CIVIL-CAD Learning Solutions, so we provide consulting, training, and design support, and template creation here in the United States. And today's webinar is over the Civil 3D Project Explorer, and we have Tim Yarris from Autodesk. Tim, so if you want to introduce yourself and get started, and I just really wanted to show this this great application to everyone. I think it'd be a great thing to people to use when they're doing corridors and pipe networks and stuff like that.
Awesome. Thanks, Tony. Thanks for having me, and thanks everybody for joining. So really quickly here. So let's see. Hang on. If I get my slide sheet, I can move. Okay. So if you've seen anything from Autodesk before, any kind of webinar like this or anything, you've seen the safe harbor statement. So basically what I'll talk about today is the majority of what I'm going to cover today is all stuff that's in the currently shipping version of Project Explorer for Civil 3D. So everything I show you, you'll be able to access in the currently shipping product. But I might allude to things that are not necessarily in the product yet, but are going to be kind of, they're on our roadmap and are under development and research right now. So what I say as far as that's concerned, don't take that as far as gospel. Don't make buying decisions based on that. So had to get that out of the way. Anyway, so super quick who I am. So my name is Tim Yarris, again, as Tony mentioned. I'm based on the East Coast, Manchester, New Hampshire. It's just about an hour north of Boston and everything. So I've been on the Civil 3D product team here at Autodesk since 2006 in a whole bunch of different roles. And I know I've met at least a few of you I've seen at AU and a bunch of other places over the years and everything. But as my current role here at Autodesk is I'm the product manager for Civil 3D as well as for Project Explorer for Civil 3D. And so as part of that, my role is to interact a lot with our customers like yourselves and basically make sure that we're kind of covering as much of their requirements and their needs in our products as humanly possible while still kind of maintaining our overall long-term strategic view of the products. And so Project Explorer and our acquisition of that was a very big part of that. So some of the stuff I'm going to go over today is a lot of productivity enhancements that are in Project Explorer that were kind of long-standing requests from customers, both on like the Civil 3D Ideas forums, as well as just talking to customers over the years and everything. So a lot of good stuff that we're talking about today. So first off, really quickly, just wanted to go over kind of just generally speaking, what is Project Explorer? The way that we're framing it and the way that people are actually, we're framing it this way because we've gotten a lot of this feedback from our customers, is that it's just overall just a new, really interesting environment for interacting with the just massive amounts of data that you have in a typical Civil 3D drawing. Couple really great things that you can do just at a high level, just exploring how a model is structured. So being able to really quickly get in and kind of see how objects interact with each other, how like one profile ties into another profile very easily, comparing cross sections to a surface or other objects just within the context of one another is really simple to do in Project Explorer, and I'll kind of show you how that happens. One of the major reasons that we invested in Project Explorer was the fact that it's a great platform for just reporting out all of the Civil 3D object data that's in your drawings. So being able to generate custom reports, custom AutoCAD tables in a really quick and easy and shareable manner are some of the really good things that you can do with Project Explorer. What I mentioned earlier, just the whole idea of satisfying a bunch of customer requirements that have been long-standing within Civil 3D. Project Explorer is really good at doing a whole bunch of these little productivity kind of tasks that aren't necessarily easy to do in core Civil 3D. So things like I've mentioned, custom reporting, custom AutoCAD tables, and that sort of thing. But then a lot of other like really clever design type of tasks that I'll get into in a couple minutes here. Things like being able to swap multiple gravity network parts, or set a slope across a run of pipes and that kind of thing in a really quick and easy way that would sometimes can take a lot longer to do in Civil 3D without Project Explorer. So quick intro on kind of who has access to Project Explorer, how do you get it? Right now, Project Explorer is available to subscribers of the Autodesk AEC collection. So if you have the AEC collection that has Civil 3D, InfraWorks, Revit, all that kind of good stuff in it, Project Explorer is available for you as well. Where you'll find it in there is basically on either accounts.autodesk.com in your account, or within the Autodesk desktop app, you'll see another entry just for like right underneath Civil 3D. It's going to be Civil 3D Project Explorer. Very simple to get to. You'll notice one caveat that is a little funky that we just didn't have a way around is that you'll see like there's only a version here listed for 2021, but just want to let folks know that this version for 2021, it installs on top of Civil 3D 2021 as well as Civil 3D 2020. So in the future, as we release new versions of Civil 3D, there will be also new versions of Project Explorer. So as we keep building up Civil 3D, you'll also keep seeing new functionality in Project Explorer. So keep your eyes open for that. And I'll get into what kind of some of the stuff is on our roadmap for Project Explorer in a couple minutes here. So real quickly, so I'm going to talk probably pretty quickly, but I'm going to hope to leave some time at the end for some questions and answer and stuff like that. But basically, high level of what I'm hoping to cover today is just an overview of the overall UI for Project Explorer, how you get around it, and that kind of thing. But it's fairly simple. Hopefully, you'll pick it up really quickly. Some really quick tips on how to find and interact with objects in your Civil 3D drawing using Project Explorer. I'll touch on some of the editing workflows that you can do within Project Explorer as far as editing certain object types like pipes or corridors and that kind of good stuff. I'll really quickly touch on some of the ways that you can report out Civil 3D object data in both external reports and Autocad tables. And I'll give you a really quick look into what it is that we have in the works for Project Explorer for future releases. So just at least a little bit of insight, you'll see that usually when people start to look at Project Explorer, they say, oh, this is really good. I like that you can do X, Y, and Z with it, but I wish it kind of did these other things too, because that would be really cool. And so I'll get into what some of those other things that we're working on will be. So, all right, so with that, and I'll also kind of touch really quickly on common use cases. So a lot of times people will look at Project Explorer and think it's kind of cool, but I don't really see how this would fit into my day-to-day work. And so this is, I was recently doing another one of these webinars with some of our technical specialists, and I actually learned a lot from them. So I was really kind of cool to, like, just shortly before this one, I learned a lot about kind of how people are using this day to day right now. And I'm hoping to share some of those with you as well, just so that hopefully you can kind of work those into why you would want to use this on a day to day basis. So more to come. All right. So with that, I'm going to stop PowerPointing you to death and I will get into the product. So, all right. Okay, so basically, I'm just going to close out of it first. So really quickly, so right now I'm going to be looking at Civil 3D 2021. And again, just remembering that Project Explorer, the current version of it, is applicable to both 2021 and 2020 versions of Civil 3D. So everything that I cover in 2021, you'll be able to do if you have Project Explorer installed on Civil 3D 2020. So that's good. So currently where you can launch Project Explorer, once you have it installed on your environment, is you'll see here, it's currently located on the add-ins tab on the ribbon. Of course, being Civil 3D, being AutoCAD based, there's 6 ways to do everything. So, I mean, you could also, it's launch Project Explorer from the ribbon, or there's a command line version of it too. It's just Project Explorer. I've got it launched right here. And so I'll just really quickly just kind of touch on it. So what you're going to see here, so this interface here is Project Explorer. And so you'll see a couple things that we'll touch on really quickly. And I'm going to really quickly get my notes up here. You'll see at first that you'll see like across the top, it's set up in a way that hopefully is fairly simple to pick up and understand what's going on. So across the top, we have a bunch of tabs that are just kind of identifying the different types of objects that are supported by Project Explorer. And again, it's set up very similarly in the object collections to the way that like Prospector set up, and you use Prospector every day, I'm sure. Project Explorer's the user interface itself is very customizable. So there's a ton of information in here. I mean, as far as object data and as far as UI elements and stuff like that. But the overall interface is very customizable in a couple different ways. So first off being, I mean, if you just click up on the tabs at the top, you can show and hide which object types you want to see or don't want to see very easily. You can do stuff like if you want more real estate, you can turn off the object label, so you just get the icons of what the objects are and that kind of thing. So a lot of different ways you can customize the UI, and I'll get more into that as I go. You'll see 3 different panels of information here. So the first one is this preview pane up at the top. Second one is this object level view, and then the third one is what we're calling a sub-object view. And so basically they all kind of work together very closely. So if, for example, I have like, right now I'm on the alignments tab, and if, for example, like this objects view here lists all of my objects that are associated with this particular object type. So in this case, I've got all my alignments up here. So if I pick an alignment, it's going to show up a whole bunch of different things. And hang on, something's not catching up with me here. Let me close that and restart it real quickly. And as it's coming back up again. So basically, you'll see as I get into things that like Project Explorer has this whole kind of progressive view of data within Civil 3D. I don't know why it's not coming back at me. Try again.
And Tim, while we wait, I have a quick question. So when the application loads, is it looking for items strictly within the drawing or actually looking at data shortcut items also?
Both, actually. Yeah.
Both,
anything,
okay.
Well, any data shortcuts that are referenced into the current drawing,
okay,
that data will all show up here.
Okay.
Okay. So it looks like we're back here. For some reason, okay, there we go. Good. Okay. So anyway, so what you're saying here, so let's say, like, for example, I'm on this Apple Street here. Like I have a whole bunch of alignments, whole bunch of associated profiles with those alignments. As I pick, like, for example, like an align for, let's say I pick this like finished ground profile here. So once I pick that profile, you'll see that I get like a couple other tabs down here at the bottom that give me kind of more lower level information about the profile itself. And you'll also see like a preview of the profile here too. So few different things that you'll notice here are different colors of text. And so what that means is that basically anything that is purple is editable. So like if, for example, I wanted to, like if I double click here on my finished grade profile, the description, if I wanted to change the description in here and just say finished grade, very meaningful name, then basically once I click OK, it'll drop that whatever I edited into Project Explorer, and then anything that you do in Project Explorer will also affect immediately the same object in Civil 3D. So it's Project Explorer isn't like some sort of like external database or anything like that. It's just a new way to interact with the same data that's already in Civil 3D right now. So if you make a change in Project Explorer, that object in the Civil 3D drawing is changed. So now this finished grade profile, if I go into the profile properties, you'll see that the description is now finished grade. So anything that's purple, you can edit. Anything that's black is read-only. And then anything that's red is a violation of some sort. So in this case, like if I hover over it, you'll see that I get the little warning symbol, and it tells me that this particular alignment contains no entities. Same type of thing if I were working on an alignment that had design criteria applied to it, if there were any kind of violations to either the design checks or the design criteria, it would list those in here in the little tooltip, just like it does here. And then I could, if any of the parameters that are affected, that were affected by that, I could then change it really easily in Project Explorer as well. So good stuff there. And then you can, there's a bunch of ways to change the colors and stuff like that if you need to. Some of the cool things about Project Explorer that we really, really like are just, again, it's the kind of nice way to navigate around and see what it is that you're working on. So if you have a whole string of alignments and profiles in here, it's really easy to see kind of, let's say, for example, if this were even a more complicated alignment, one thing that you do is kind of really easily pick and choose like kind of what it is that you're looking at. So if in this case here, if I like kind of step through, I can see kind of what my different, like what all these different entities are, how they fall within the profile itself and that kind of thing. One of the really good things that we really like about Project Explorer, it's kind of a long-standing request for a lot of people, is the whole fact that it's a we call it a modeless dialog box. So basically I can have Project Explorer open, and there's a lot going on in here. So we typically like to have it like docked over on like a separate monitor, just so you can have more of your drawing space open. Oh, come on now. There we go. Okay, I'm back. Wouldn't be a demo without some sort of wacky message showing up. You know the drill. But anyway, modeless dialog box. So basically, what that means, I can just kind of have Project Explorer open, and I can kind of keep interacting with my Civil 3D drawing as I go. I can keep doing any kind of modifications in Civil 3D like I always do, and I can keep bouncing back and forth between the two. So long-standing request there is to have more kind of modeless interaction like that. So that's a really good thing. Hang on a second here. Okay, so let's say, for example, a couple of the things that are really good about Project Explorer that we really like are things like, for example, let's say I had my alignment selected here, and this is a reasonably simple alignment, obviously, but like if I had this like huge long list of alignments in here, if I didn't know particularly which alignment in the drawing it was, what you could do is, you'll see this kind of throughout Project Explorer, is that basically if I, hang on a second here. Getting a little funky here. Hang on just a second for me, please. Please hold. Oh, I'm sorry. It helps if I push the right button. So watch this. So what I was doing is, let's say I have this Apple Street alignment here. It's in a long list of alignments and everything, and I'm not sure kind of which one it is in my drawing. So what I can do, which is kind of clever, is that basically if I have this thing highlighted here and I hold down my control key, you'll see over my drawing here, it kind of lights up a little bit to kind of show me like, okay, this is the object that you're looking at in Civil 3D. And that kind of throughout Project Explorer, that same kind of design pattern works throughout the whole thing. So basically, if I were at the sub-entity level and I wanted to see which curve this was on my alignment, I can do that same thing. I can hold down my control key and you'll see that whole like, okay, this curve is the one that you're looking at right here. Again, that's all over the place in Project Explorer. If you're looking at PIs, critical stations, points, or pipe network parts, all that kind of good stuff, that happens all throughout the whole product. Comparing objects. So let's say, for example, how would you usually like kind of, let's say like if you wanted to validate kind of like that your like elevations were tying in this intersection for like this particular, these two finished grade profiles. So a couple different ways you might do that in Civil 3D right now are create two profiles for the two alignments and project one onto the other profile view to kind of make sure that they're lining up well and everything. You can still do that, that's great, but there are simpler ways to do that in Project Explorer. One of which would be, let's say, for example, I have like right now I'm showing the my profile for that same this main line that we're running right here. What I can do is it has this compare to function. And basically what that's going to do is it's a running list of all of the comparable objects in the current drawing. So in this case, it's alignments, profiles, it's surfaces. I believe feature lines are supported as well. But basically it lets you kind of superimpose any of those objects onto this current view. So basically if I wanted to go through right now and I wanted to see where that one particular object or this other profile here tied in, what I could do is, I believe that's Appleseed Lane. If I just go to the profile for that one, it drops it in as a green dashed line here. And it just kind of lets you just kind of validate really quickly without creating that superimposed profile that you then kind of has to throw away later on and everything. So, and again, you can switch those as needed to any other objects that you want, just to kind of compare different things to different objects. So pretty clever stuff. Again, I mentioned that you can change colors and stuff like that, and a lot of different other things within Project Explorer. So a couple different ways that you can kind of customize the view. Preferences button down here at the bottom is, again, you'll see once you open that up, you'll see very similar interaction that you see throughout Project Explorer with like the object tabs across the top. And then you can get really granular as far as customizing how this whole thing is presented just throughout the UI. And so a bunch of different options, just colors and stuff like that for all the different objects that you can pick and choose and set. And one of the other great things you can do, just generally speaking, is once you customize something in Project Explorer, it's very easy to save that customization out so that you can use that same layout in another machine, or if you want to have like a standard layout for your entire organization, it's very easy to share that and then open it back up and have your other users downstream load it back into their versions of Project Explorer. So very good thing there. And it's very easy to restore the defaults and get everything back if you need. Layout, this is another way to do it. And this gets more into how you want, or what type of data you want to be represented in the main Project Explorer UI here. So like you'll see here that like if I just drag this off to the side, like in the case of like alignments, and then especially with like pipe networks, there's tons and tons and tons of different parameters that you can have displayed. And so in a lot of cases, it can be pretty overwhelming. So this whole interface gives you the flexibility of just being able to really pick and choose which parameters you want to display for a given use case, as well as, like I mentioned earlier, anything that's purple is editable. So if I wanted to change description to DESC, I can very easily do that and then save it. And then I could save that out and then kind of push that out to my organization so that everybody has the same layout and is looking at the same stuff. Bunch of other things you can do as far as just intervals and all that kind of good stuff, and changing the justification of how the things lay out in the columns and all that kind of good stuff. So yeah, again, very, very customizable and very easily shared within other people in your organization. So, so that's good stuff. So I'm just going to cancel out of that. And I will get into, yes, I want to exit. Some of the things that we can do just kind of on the editing front. So let's say, and feel free to jump in if there are questions and stuff like that, Tony, or if you want me to slow down or linger a bit more on something else, happy to do so.
Okay.
Thanks. One of the areas that's really well fleshed out in Project Explorer as far as like kind of the editing and productivity tools area is on pipe networks. So you see here, like I mentioned, like there's same thing set up very similarly to the way that the alignments tab was that we were just looking at. So you got the preview objects and then the sub objects. So in this case, you're looking at, we have two pipe networks in this drawing, which again, if I look at Prospector, because I can dig into it without closing out Project Explorer, you'll see that I have two sewer networks in here with a bunch of pipes and structures in each of them. and you'll see those two kind of reflected in here. And when I select one of the pipe networks, it populates the lower panel here with all of the pipes and structures that are within that particular network. This particular pipe network is a little on the funky side, and then it kind of, like if I, again, hold down my control key, you'll see that it wraps up around this particular alignment, back up around here, and then goes back down to this other road. So it's a little tricky to show what that looks like in this particular profile. But one of the many things that Project Explorer does that's kind of clever is that it introduces this whole notion of a pipe run within Gravity Networks, which is something that Civil 3D didn't really have. So what I can do is, let's say I know which structures I want to show for a particular run of pipes. So I can say what's my starting structure, and then what's my ending structure. And then once I do that, it'll quickly kind of just reduce what I'm seeing to just that particular run of pipes. And again, what you're seeing, things that are in yellow are what's highlighted currently in the, what's currently highlighted down here. So basically, if I step through again, you'll see it kind of steps through and highlights my different pipes or my different structures as I want them to. Just so it's really focused on what it is that you're currently working on. So very good stuff there. Once you're in a pipe run, it also introduces this notion of a pipe run editor. So what we're looking at here is, again, this is just a collection of tools to just kind of let you do things in bulk for this particular pipe run. And it's fairly clear about this pipe run is, like it says up at the top here, this is going from structure A2 to structure A6. And it gives you a bunch of different things that you can do as far as what do you want to do as far as do you want to set elevations? Do you want to set up my slope? That kind of thing. So say, for example, I wanted to, right now, this is not a consistent pipe slope across these different pipes. I could set those in just Core Civil 3D one by one, set them all. But with Project Explorer, what I can do is I can kind of set a couple of different constraints. And then if I want to just set these all to just -1%, I can just kind of click OK. And it'll just kind of blast through, and it'll set all those to the nice consistent slope that I set. And again, that's all just changed automatically in the pipes within Civil 3D. So everything that you have to do in Project Explorer automatically gets dumped right back into Civil 3D objects. So all good things there. Other things you can do, it's got, like I mentioned earlier, a bunch of different productivity tools that just aren't really easy to do in Civil 3D. So if I had if I pick a whole bunch of pipes here, or a bunch of structures rather, just like in Civil 3D, right click is your friend. I can swap multiple parts all at the same time, which is a long-standing customer request. I can set descriptions or styles and all kinds of other things just en masse within Project Explorer. So just keeps things considerably easier to do in a lot of cases than it would be to do in Civil 3D without Project Explorer. Let's see here. What else was I hoping to cover here? Let's see. So here's a couple things that I can touch on as far as let's talk about corridors really quickly. So you'll see here a couple different things that you can do. So I mean, cross section by cross section, I have all the roads in this particular data set are all set up as one single corridor. It's hidden, but that's okay. We're just going to kind of go with it for right now. So a bunch of different things you can do here is you can kind of treat this as the corridors tab is kind of almost like a quarter section editor. But there's a whole bunch of other things that you can do with it that are kind of clever that aren't really easy to do in Civil 3D. So things like, just like in Section Editor, you can go through and pick your station by station, or you can kind of step through as you need to. One of the silly things that's kind of clever here is you can just use your scroll wheel on your mouse just to kind of step through, which is kind of nice. One of the things you can do, again, that control key is super helpful. If I am in my view here, you'll see, if I hit my control key, you'll see that that little, that cross section there kind of shows up down there, just to kind of show me in context where I am and with this particular, this section. If I scroll through, do a whole bunch of other sections, once I go to 450 and I hit my control key, you'll see now I'm up there like about midway through that tangent. So nice way to just kind of see where it is that you're working in your particular, just gives you context of where you are in your drawing. Same
like the
thing.
station tracker, basically on the edit. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, it's pretty handy. And again, I mean, things that you can do. I mean, things like, let's see here, compare to, same thing works very well here, where you can compare it to, like, for example, where's my EG? That looks like that was not the greatest, but yeah, I mean, you can pick and choose kind of what you want to show, what you want to compare to, all that kind of good stuff. Good kind of validation thing that you can do here is you can kind of show what's highlighted, so you can kind of validate where, like, how your overall design is laying out. So like if I want, like right now it's showing link codes, so that's what's showing as yellow here. I can pick and choose, like, okay, right now this is showing highlighting all of my top codes. If I wanted to see like what my datum was, it kind of lets you verify really quickly kind of what those, what all my datum links look like and how they're laying out in this particular corridor and everything. So stuff like that. I mean, point codes if you wanted to see like where your back of curb was and it shows that, or whatever. So just a bunch of just kind of just quick ways to kind of show and slice and dice how your object data is represented. Very good ways to do that. Let's see. Let's get into really quickly some of the report related stuff and tables. This last tab over on the end here, this is called object sets. And so as the name implies, it's a Project Explorer specific functionality, and it's as the name implies, a set of objects. It could be like, if, for example, you wanted to have a, let's say like a station offset report of like an alignment versus Kogo points that were in your drawing. It lets you kind of set like, okay, this is my center line alignment that I want, and then here's the point group that I want to use, and I want to report the station offset and everything relative to that alignment. Very easy to do that, as well as you can report those out as, like I said, AutoCAD table, or as a whole bunch of different formats. So I'll show you kind of some of that type of stuff. If, like, for example, this particular top of wall, this is a report that I already have set up, and you'll see here, like, same thing within all the other places in Project Explorer. It's like, this is my master, this is my top of wall object set. It consists of this particular feature line, and then those are the like vertices within that feature line that are kind of, it's the like preview, object, sub-object, same format that is throughout Project Explorer. So in this case, like if I dig into this, again, I have these already created, so just kind of save some time here. So when I open this up, this object set, it's got a name to it. I can add a description. An object set is basically, I have these objects. This is the action that I want to do with those objects. And so in this case, like if this is set to drop out this this report to HTML, but there's a whole bunch of other types of actions that I could do with an object set. So reporting out to a whole bunch of different formats, everything from your XLSs and text files and all that kind of good stuff, to things like I can export to a table that will be dropped into model space or paper space, or I can even really quickly drop out the selected objects into just an AutoCAD 2D DWG. And that's a nice way to just, if you need to share some of your design objects with people that don't have Civil 3D as deliverables, then you can just really quickly shoot those objects out to DWG. So good stuff there. So basically, I name it, I assign what objects I want, Layout style, you can either do a really quick, just kind of automatically drop out whatever I have shown in the Project Explorer window. I can just grind it out and have all that data show up in my my output, or I can specify like a particular style using very similar interaction like you did, like I just showed you a minute ago, to kind of organize the UI. And so this lets you really get into really highly customizing your report, so that you can like say, if it's an alignment that is being used in this report, I want to have it contain these parameters. I want them to be laid out and structured in this particular way. This particular report is going to concentrate on feature lines, so I can, like if I wanted to have the site shown somewhere else on the list, I can rearrange the list as I want to, and again, I can edit the names as I want as well, like checking and unchecking anything, any parameters that I do or do not want shown in the report. And again, setting up these reports and then sharing them out to others in your organization, super easy to do. I can just save it out as this XMPT file to wherever I want on my network, and then I can share it out with other people in my org as well. So it's just a nice way to create custom reports that you can then use for a project or anything. So I'm going to cancel out of that and just kind of give you a quick, keep going here. But anyway, again, I touched on the style. It's a name, it's a style, the objects that I want included with it, how I want that data to be dropped out at the end. So it has the notion of an output path, where I want the report to be generated to, how I want that report like laid out, just in the like table structure and that kind of thing. All things that you can specify really quickly. And again, like once I have all that set up, I can have many object sets running at the same time, and I can have them set up to be regenerated at different times. So if, for example, I made a bunch of changes in my Civil 3D drawing, and I wanted to reset all of them, and I wanted to kind of blast them all out, I can just kind of select all of them. I don't even have to select all of them. I can just, there's a button here to run all actions, or I can just run like the currently selected action. So in this case, just to see, like there's this particular top of wall is going to generate a report for, I believe it's just there's a retaining wall around this particular area here. So basically what I can do is I can just run that one selected report. Do I want to open it now? Yes, I do. And then once it runs that, it brings it back up here, and then it just kind of spits out that report that just kind of shows me how my wall might be staked out. So again, very simple, really easy to do. Other things you can do with an object set that are that I didn't mention while I was in there. Let's take a look at this other one here that basically generates an AutoCAD table. And so this is one that's just going to run on that sewer network number 2 that ran around there. You'll see here I have this one set up to use that sewer network, and it is set to dynamically update as part of this this AutoCAD table. I can also have it set, if I don't want the noise of that table constantly updating in my drawing, I can set it to manual, but at least for these purposes, I'm just going to have it set to dynamic just so you can get the feel for it. You can also specify where in the particular drawing you want that table to be placed in. So I already have the insertion point all set and everything, so I'm just going to leave it where it is. Set different table styles if you would like it. If you want to set it up something custom, you can do that. But basically, if I click OK, and then again, you can add additional objects to it just using very similar things that you've seen throughout Civil 3D. But basically, for this particular case, if I just run this particular selected action, now if I go into Civil 3D here, you'll see that it dropped that report where I wanted, where I said it was going to be. And again, this is an AutoCAD table, so you have all that control over all the grid padding and column widths and headers and all that kind of good stuff that you that the Civil 3D table functionality lacks right now. Again, it being a dynamic table, it works really well where if you have, like, let's say, for example, if for sewer network 2, if I changed my, let's say, oh, I'm working on pipes here. So if I have my pipes and I change my description of pipe 20 to just something different, if I just had it just be PVC, once I click OK, you'll see really quickly it just kind of automatically updates there really simply. So it's really nice to keep everything in sync within your tables and your object data. Let's see here, other things I wanted to touch on. I'm going to really quickly jump over to some of my notes here. Let's see. Why don't I touch on really quickly kind of what's next? You'll see on Project Explorer here that there are a couple different things that we're looking at. You'll see some things that one of the things that we're looking at as far as like coming releases of Civil 3D, things that we have under research are things such as, you'll see that we have a pretty good set of object types that are available in Project Explorer right now, but it's not really an exhaustive list of every single object type that is in Civil 3D today. So you'll see that like there are some objects missing from here. So things like, oh boy, let's say, for example, pressure networks or catchments are missing from this list up at the top. And so we are currently researching getting more of those object types supported within Project Explorer, as well as other examples being things that we're looking at adding more support for, or more opening up a lot more of the object parameters for editing, so that, like, if, for example, if I wanted to rely on strictly Project Explorer and not go into the panorama for my alignment editing view, looking into stuff like that. Local language support for currently right now, Project Explorer for 2021 and 2020 is available in English only. So we're work in progress right now. I can definitely share is opening up to all the languages that Civil 3D is available for right now, as well as just a bunch of other things that we want to do to round out like a lot of the just kind of overall functionality for things like, we're really excited about the like table and reporting functionality. So we're really keen to do some more to kind of make the tables even more flexible and the reports more flexible, so that you can like add custom columns and total rows down at the bottom and stuff like that, and combine merge cells and stuff like that as needed. So all stuff that's work in progress, and all stuff that is I think gonna make a big deal to make this a lot more usable to a lot more people. So like I said, we hear a lot when we start introing what this tool is all about, we hear a lot of people saying like, that's great, I love the table, but I wish I could do these other things with it so that it would suit my this particular project that I'm working on. And so we're taking a lot of that feedback to heart, and we're definitely doing our best to build out this tool as quickly as we possibly can. One of the benefits of us building out this tool is that this was initially developed by a third party, and we acquired it. And so because it was developed by a third party, Project Explorer is all based on the publicly available Civil 3D API. And so as a result of that, in order to bulk up Project Explorer, we need to bulk up the API. So if any of you are API developers and develop your own custom tools on top of Civil 3D, then you'll definitely benefit from the improvements that we're making to the API in order to make Project Explorer more powerful. That means your custom tools that you're building for yourselves will also have the potential to be more powerful as well. So, so we definitely are doing our best to make this tool more powerful as we go. So this is not something that we're just kind of buying, sticking in product and kind of forgetting about it. We're continuing development on this as we speak. So I've been talking a lot.
Yeah, we did have some questions come in.
Yeah.
So the first one came in is in the corridor tab, can you make edits like you can on this section editor, turn links on and off and edit slopes?
Some things. There are some things that actually that you can do and some things that you can't do. I don't think you can really get too deep into editing like individual parameters on an individual subassembly and that kind of thing, just because that's stuff that, again, as I mentioned, it was kind of limited to what was available in the public API. And so I don't think you can do that. I mean, you can, I mean, again, some of the stuff that's in purple are all things that you can do. You can change assemblies, start station, end station, stuff like that. But unfortunately, you can't really get too deep into like changing fine parameters yet at least.
But we can switch out, I guess, the assembly or subassembly. Is that possible?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Like in this case here, like if I wanted to change this to a different assembly, I can drop a new one in and it will just update that region as needed. And then there are a bunch of other different things around here, such as like I don't have to necessarily go back into Civil 3D to rebuild corridors or rebuild anything. I can just kind of really quickly do that from right up in here. So.
Okay. The next question that came in is about network licenses. With the Project Explorer, is that you need to have a PE added to the license file.
Correct.
You want to kind of explain that?
Yeah. So I believe I'm not the best person to speak to about licensing, but I do know that you do have to, if you're currently running a just Civil 3D itself on a network license, and then you want to add Project Explorer to it, I believe you have to have your admin generate a new license file to accommodate both Civil and Project Explorer. Okay.
Next question that came in is, can you, is there a zoom to feature for feature line? So if I'm in the feature line tab, is there capability to zoom to that feature line, I guess, in plan view?
Yes, there is.
Okay.
So if I zoom to that, and that's kind of across the board in Project Explorer. I mean, they were really good about doing that. So, I mean, like all kinds of stuff on right click, like if, for example, I had, I mean, heck, I could even like at the alignment level, if I wanted to like zoom to a particular entity, I could do that. Like if I just wanted to zoom in on this particular curve or pan to it, whatever, I can do that. So.
Yeah. Yep. The next question, is there or will there be a way to select an object in Project Explorer and find it in AutoCAD view, which is kind of what, you know, almost all the features does in here, right? You can actually find it in AutoCAD while you're working in the dialog box.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, so if I wanted to like pick this alignment, I'm going to select it and there you have it. I'll hopefully get ahead of somebody because the next question is usually, what if I select an alignment in the drawing space? Can I then highlight it in Project Explorer? And not yet. Super common request that we are definitely working on.
My question would be like, what if you're in split view, and what would happen then is if you select here and said, okay, show me a CAD, is it going to just show in plan view, or is it going to show in every view you have that object?
It's a good question. Let's find out. I think it'll probably, I mean, I expect it would zoom to it if it's in the, whatever the active viewport would be.
Yeah.
But I think it should select it in all of them. But let's find out. Okay. So let's say I'm dug way deep in here. So let's see what happens here. So if maybe I'll grab a part. Let's say, what happens if I select a particular structure? Let's say, if I select it in the viewport, and then if I zoom to it. Okay, so it's definitely zoom there. Yeah, it stayed the same in this one. So yeah, so
whichever the active view is.
Yeah, it seems that way.
Okay.
And it selected it for sure, but yeah.
Okay. The next question I had, let's see if we have any more coming in. Oh, on the reports, it's pretty similar to the reports you see on the tool space toolbox. Does it have like a header where you can put a company name and address and information like that on those reports?
Not yet. That's one of those many things that like I mentioned, were one of the kind of fine tuning things that we want to do with the reports is stuff like that, like being able to add custom content to them. Right now, it's really all just metadata that's within the objects that you're reporting on. You currently can't add custom fields and custom cells and stuff like that. Not yet.
Okay. When you create those profiles here, does it tie to the Civil 3D ARG profile? Is that where it's saving, or is it totally a separate profile for all your customization here for this dialog box?
Customization is actually, it's all just files. Like if I save out any of these files, like it's literally just like a file that I just I point to on like a network or on my local machine. So I mean, theoretically, you could save out like a layout or a report or something like that to like somewhere on your company's network. And then just you'd have like all of your users would then have to come in here and say, open whatever that file is, wherever it is on the network. Okay.
So I was just thinking about having it on the network. So every time somebody opens it up, everyone's seeing the same dialog box, the same display. I wasn't quite sure if it was tied to the Civil 3D profile ARG file, or it's actually going into the options file tab support link, and it's going to and pointing.
I don't think it's not tied to the the profile yet.
Okay.
But yeah, that's an outstanding point. That would make things way easier.
Yes, I can just point to that folder. Now every time it boots up, it's going to that folder, and everybody's kind of looking at the same thing.
Yeah,
just an option. I'm sure somebody will probably come up with another idea too. Okay,
good one.
I guess my question is that, okay. Here's another one came in. Is there interoperability for basically SSA as far as the reports?
It's basically the same. Any data that you have that is on the pipe network in Civil 3D is data that you can report on within Project Explorer. Like Civil 3D to use SSA, you have to kind of push the data back and forth between the two and everything, right? Any data that is pushed back from SSA and updates any of the parameters on the network parts, then you can report on those within Project Explorer. The one kind of caveat that again, one other thing that we're looking at, one of the many things we're looking at is where the heck is it? When you generate a report, you can, right now, I know like over the last couple of releases, we've been doing our best to kind of really bulk up the use of property sets on Civil 3D objects. Right now, if you have a report that you generate in Project Explorer, you can say, let's see, where the heck would it be here? Right now, you can say like there's a tag here for property sets. And the way that this works right now is that it only will show you like if I'm reporting on a pipe network, if that pipe network has 3 property sets associated with it, then this field will just say property sets 3. Whereas one of the things we're working on that is going to be a big deal, I think, is making it so that you can actually, the reports will actually be able to dig into those property sets and say, there's a Tim property that reports 3 or whatever for this particular structure. And so just to, again, just make the reports and tables that much more powerful and be able to actually use the property set data.
I guess maybe in the next release, you all seeing kind of interoperability with InfraWorks, where you're going syncing back and forth in here.
Potentially, yeah. We're still, this definitely could have a lot to do with like just some of our long-term plans on interoperability and just having single source of truth, one source of data for multiple products and stuff like that. So yeah, definitely something that's on our radar.
How about vehicle tracking? So, you know, there'd be a tab for like parking stall types and stuff. I could switch it
Absolutely.
on the fly within here.
Yeah, that's definitely something that we could do with this in the future for sure.
Okay.
But yeah, you don't see, again, you don't see like roundabouts or intersections.
Intersections and stuff like that. Yeah.
So.
Yep. So we have surfaces, feature lines, parcel, sample lines. Let's see. Point groups. Okay.
Blocks. You
And,
name it.
and blocks too. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, so kind of cool. You can report like if you have like a series of like, I don't know, light poles or something like that along alignment, then it's a nice way to kind of do a station offset of those, that kind of thing.
Yep. Does anybody else have additional questions they'd like to ask? We've had about 7 come in. Let's see, assemblies. How about anything related to QTO in the future, where it's updating Q2 quantities and stuff?
So definitely as part of the like updates to reporting and tables, that's the QTO is high on the list for sure. And that's kind of where I think a lot of where we want to get into more like adding more property data into the reports as well, as far as just doing stuff around excuse me, again, just being able to kind of add custom tables or custom elements to the tables and everything, so that you can kind of have those sorts of calculations taking place in the tables. Definitely on the list. Okay.
Back to, I know this is not supposedly your department for licensing. So what if somebody really wanted Project Explorer, but that means that they'd have to forced to upgrade to an AEC collection? So do you see in the future where they can actually purchase the single application on a monthly subscription as like an add-in, and not have to upgrade their whole their license of Civil 3D to a collection? We just want that little add-in.
Never say never. Currently, it's remaining as part of the AEC collection, or if you're on an enterprise situation. But yeah, like I said, never say never.
Never said. I mean, I actually had a vision of it being sitting in the App Store, Autodesk App Store, purchase it, and on the surfaces tab, if we can go to the tab, I want to see what kind of capabilities you have in there. Is it just really styles, or that you're changing? It looks like
it's primarily just style, honestly, because there wasn't a huge amount of API available for surfaces. Let's see, what else can you do here? Honestly, I haven't done a ton with it.
There's just so many things that you can actually do. I mean, you can spend a whole day just playing around with the features of how much customization you can do and data you can to extract and look at.
So, but yeah, I mean, you can bunch of kind of cool filters and stuff like that you can apply to kind of weed out the massive amount of information that's in here. Some things you can do that's kind of cool that I don't think I touched on really quickly is that, like, if you have what the heck was it? Let me see an example here. Oh, like parcels maybe. Like if I wanted to dump like a bunch of information about parcels out to a report, like you can just, or out to a DWG, like again, right click. You can very quickly just right click something and just dump it out as a table, dump it out as a DWG. Or if I wanted to kind of build out an object set for more kind of fine-tuned control over the reports and tables and stuff like that, then I can add it to either any object sets that I already have open, or if I want to create a new one, like starting from this particular object, then I can do that really easily too. Copied stuff to clipboard, so that if I wanted to do that and drop it into Excel. I could do that. All kinds of just
Oh, wow.
super quick things that you can do in here that are really handy. And again, that kind of stuff is just all over the product. So
Yeah, definitely. I think one of the biggest things I really like it is that you can float it and continue working on it. Not like the quarter property, you have to actually get out and the dialog box and
yeah, quarter properties is a bear for sure. Something else we're looking at.
Yeah, I do like that capability, and I do like the holding down. Did you say Alt button in order to display what feature you're selecting in a dialog box?
Control, yeah.
Control button. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
And again, that's all over the place. So I mean, even at the like line level segment of the parcel and that kind of thing, I can really easily see what's going on there. So,
so speaking of alignment, so let's say a profile. And back to split view, I guess it's really going to be active view. So if I did have a plan and profile, I was looking at model space, a plan and profile, and I selected a profile, it's only going to highlight the profile in the profile section, not show the highlighted alignment in plan view.
That is a good question. Honestly, I haven't done a whole lot with how they look and how like the profiles look. So let's take a look here.
So I know majority of people probably work in a split view when you're working with plan and profiles and looking at what's happening in plan, what's happening on the profile.
So this is showing, it's showing the whole, it's picking the alignment. I'm not sure if it's doing anything on like the profile itself though.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, so it shows.
So it highlights both of them, the plan, the alignment on 2D view, plan view, and then it shows the profile. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, even if you get in, and so I imagine anyway that like if you have a is it showing? Is it highlighting? Maybe I'm just not zoomed in far enough. Maybe it's.
Do you see in the future where you'll be able to actually also on the fly change labels? You're like on plan view or profile of network or even street profile, and you want to just change all the labels at one time through this dialog box.
That's definitely a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would beat the heck out of digging into the dialog box, right?
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's an idea.
Yeah, we're absolutely open for suggestions on what where to go next with it. Like I said, we've got a team that's continuing development on this right now. So I mean, we have a roadmap and we have more stuff coming for it. So
yeah, I definitely see a lot of benefits, and I do a lot of corridors. So, and I think this would be really great to do a bunch of simple edits within here. So, and getting reports too, especially the report for offset staking for roads. Now I can run that report constantly, update it, or even utility staking. So I definitely see those kind of benefits. I was just showing somebody just yesterday, just doing the old-fashioned way of doing offset staking with your automatic Kogo point offset staking, and then running the report from the toolbox. So,
yeah.
Yeah, I definitely see that benefit in here too. So, does anybody else that's still online has any questions? While I think we're kind of at the end of our webinar here, we're going to kind of close it out here in the next few minutes. Any additional questions? Anybody else? Don't be shy. So
yeah, I mean, after the fact, even if you have follow-up questions or anything, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm at tim.yarris@autodesk.com. So
but yeah, I definitely appreciate you stopping by and presenting on this. I really want to show people on the user group and people that follow me on LinkedIn, showing the benefits of this right here. I just played with it first day. I was like, okay, we got people who got to start using this.
Yeah, please do.
So, well, thank you. I think that wraps up our webinar. And we'll definitely invite you for our next one.
Thank you.
And in a few months, we'll have another one.
Nice.
And continue spreading the word and knowledge about the software.
Awesome. Thanks for your time, Tony, and thanks everybody for your time.
Yep. Thank you. All right, everyone. Thanks for attending. All right. Yeah. Have a good weekend.
See you.
Bye.